putting pen to paper, seeing how it works for you personally. Jim and his 26 years of experience available to you, customized, comprehensive, and complimentary. And don't forget, you can also go to the website, retirereadyfg.com. As always, we want to thank you so much for joining us here on Freedom to Retire with Jim Cipriotti, powered by the Retire Ready Financial Group. Hope you have a great week ahead of you. Jim, I do want to leave you with a final word, but before we do that, I want to turn the floor over really quick to a special guest, Mayor Parker. What do you have to say?
Let me hear you all say, E-L-G-L-E-S, Eagles! Let's go, Birds!
So spelling aside, I think the sentiment is truly there. Let's go, Birds.
Hope you caught me off guard for a minute. I didn't know where to take that one. But yeah, so proud of our Eagles team. I mean, geez, what amazing strides they've been making. And geez, go, go, go. So, and also go, get that second opinion on your financial plan and tax plan too. So hope everyone has a great week. Go Eagles. Looking forward to next time.
If you have questions or concerns about reaching your retirement goals, then give Retire Ready Financial Group a call, 610-894-7415, or visit online at retirereadyfg.com.
Investment advice offered through Retire Ready Wealth Management, Pennsylvania Registered Investment Advisor, able to provide investment advice in states where it is registered, exempt, or excluded from registration. Content contained herein should not be construed as an offer or solicitation for investment advice or for the purchase or sale of any security, insurance, or other investment product. Investments involve the risk of loss, including possible loss of principal. Please consult with a qualified financial, tax, accounting, or legal professional before implementing any ideas or strategies discussed here. Content provided is obtained from sources believed to be reliable but cannot be guaranteed as to its accuracy or completeness.
This program is paid for by Retire Ready Financial Group. All opinions or statements expressed on the program are solely those of Retire Ready Financial Group or their guests and do not reflect the views of WPHT or Odyssey. Today's program is pre-recorded.
WPHT, WPHT-HD, WOGL HD3 Philadelphia. From the Piazza Auto Group Studios, experience the power of one with 8 brands and 25 locations. Always live on the free Odyssey app. Live and local with Kathy Barnette on Taco.
I won't stop. What a big sack. I give him that ditty bop. Like, take that, take that, take that, take that. I'ma put in work. I'ma do that ASAP. Throw my faith in rap. But I say, don't say that, huh? What I'ma turn down for? Feel like Shaq and Nafo. Breaking glass in that backbone. I like Kobe and Toronto, huh? Dropping 81.
I'm just bringing some energy. Wake up. Let's get it going. I love it. I love that bridge. So when we come back, Kirk, make sure we're right there at that bridge part of this of the song. Yeah, absolutely. Hello, Pennsylvania, Delaware, New Jersey, Maryland. You're listening in on the #1 talk radio station in Philadelphia. What? I love it. This is your girl, Kathy Barnette. You're listening to the Kathy Barnette Show. Wow, we have a lot to get through in this show. So let's go ahead and get started. I mean, Donald Trump has had a week, his first week back on the job. Praise the Lord. You know, I was thinking as I was driving in, like, none of us with any ounce of common sense and who have not been morally compromised, none of us like what happened in 2020. But I tell you, had 2020 not happened, we would still be sleepwalking. And the plans these people, whoever these are, I'm throwing up my little air quotes right now. If you're watching me on live right now on YouTube, you can see my little air quotes. These people, we will still be sleepwalking, but they jarred us out of our slumber. They woke us up. And this isn't about party lines. It's not about just Democrats and Republicans are good. No, it is what I learned over these past 4 years of running my own campaign, walking alongside Vivek Ramaswamy, walking behind the curtains of some of the most powerful places is that, you know, the divide, Democrat, Republican, it is all a mirage. It is a distraction. Yes, I keep it simple and I say Democrats, Republicans, because that's how most of us think. But, you know, this battle we're fighting, it's not Democrat versus Republicans, blue shirts versus red shirt, the jackass versus us over here on the Republican side. No, the elephant. No, it's like a cabal of them versus us. Those who have versus those who are trying to come up, right? It is really wild, really crazy, but I was thinking as I was driving in this morning that had it not been for 2020, had these people not done what they did, we would still be asleep. And I think now Donald Trump coming back in office, we all are woke or are awake. We all are now aware of what is going on. And you see that in this first week of Donald Trump being back in office. We have Pete Hegseth has been confirmed. Several others have been confirmed, but that was perhaps the most precarious confirmation. Donald Trump just came in and he removed the security detail, U.S. Secret Service detail for Dr. Fauci, Mike Pompeo, John Bolton, Brian Hook, Dr. Deborah Berg. He's like, listen, I'm taking you off. We're no longer going to pay for your security. He just came from North Carolina, did a presser in California. He signed over 200 executive orders, pardoned the 23 pro-lifers who were just praying outside of an abortion clinic. He pardoned them, pardoned over 1,500 J6ers, and it just continues. But I want to bring in my next guest, Joseph Humeyer. Hey, Joseph, how you doing?
Hey, Kathy, how's it going?
Oh, it's going well. Joseph is a global security expert specializing in analyzing trans-regional threats in the Western Hemisphere. You're now the executive director of the National Security Think Tank Center for a Secure, Free Society. Every time I speak to you, Joseph, you're either leaving the country or you're coming back from South America someplace. So thank you so much for taking time to drop in.
No, absolutely. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, you know, one of those over 200 executive orders Donald Trump signed, many of them was specifically targeted to securing our southern border. In one of his first official acts as president, he signed an executive order ending birthright citizenship. We know that that is being challenged right now, which is what he expected. I think he wants to take this all the way to the Supreme Court. But my question to you, so in his first week, he ended birthright citizenship, or at least did the executive order for it. He declared a national emergency on the southern border, mass deportation. Over 538 people were loaded up on a plane. They showed, and Caroline Leavitt, the president's press secretary, confirmed they are putting people on these military-style airplane and getting them the heck up out of here. He declared the Mexican cartel a terrorist organization, ended catch and release. Our military just landed on the southern border. He's doing a lot. But my question to you, Joseph, is it a little too little too late? Or is it just the right temperature right now? I mean, where do we stand? What's your perspective?
Well, I mean, obviously, you know, this could have been done a while back if the Biden administration took these threats seriously. So, you know, it's always one day too late. But nonetheless, it's better late than never. And I think that President Trump, the fact that he's doing this on day one, you know, really the first day of his administration, not only shows the priority that he's giving to the crisis of the southern border, the crisis of the cartels, and basically securing the homeland, but it also shows kind of the mandate in which President Trump has been elected and in which he's starting his administration. I think he understands the American people voted for him in large part because, not exclusively, but in large part because they're worried about the American sovereignty, about our territorial integrity, and they're worried about basically gangs, cartels, the terrorists, attacking us here in the homeland. And so I'm going to focus a little bit, Kathy, on the designation of the cartels as foreign terrorist organizations, because that's a very, very important executive order. I'd say, honestly, a decade in the making, because he tried to do this in the first administration. There was conversations about this even before President Trump won in 2016, and it's been resisted for a long time by the intelligence community, by many academics. And the fact that we were able to get this across the finish, I think, is very, very, very strong. And I'm going to read one part of it, which is Section 1A, which is the main part, and it says international cartels constitute a national security threat beyond that posed by traditional organized crime. Basically, what that's saying is that cartels don't actually function like cartels anymore. They're not just doing drug trafficking and money laundering or weapons smuggling. They're actually like soldiers on a battlefield. They're being deployed to basically take over territory, to change the economies, to capture sovereign territory. And fundamentally what they're designed to do is destabilize the countries in which they're operating. And then they're not just operating in the United States. They're operating all over the Western Hemisphere and even parts of Europe. So the fact that he elevated this to the highest tier of national security is very, very strong and very, very useful for tackling this problem. There's a couple concepts that are mentioned inside the executive order. They're concepts that I know very well because I've dealt with them for many years, but I've never seen them inside an executive order. The first is this concept of crime-terror convergence. This is the idea that terrorist organizations and criminal organizations, mainly cartels, are working in symbiotic manner, but not because they have the same objective at the end. Like they don't like necessarily, terrorist organizations are, especially jihadists, mostly have political objectives. Criminal organizations, mainly cartels, mostly have monetary objectives. So that doesn't necessarily have to align for them to work together, because the way they work together is through logistics. The people that provide services to cartels, whether you're a truck driver, an accountant, an IT technician, are usually the same people that provide those same services to a terrorist organization. Mm-hmm. And we've seen plenty of evidence of this over the years. This was a hotly contested debate for many years in the intelligence community. We won the debate, and now it's in the executive order. And the second is called complex adaptive systems. This may sound very technical and wonky, and it somewhat is. It's actually a term that comes from science and math. It's used in social system theory. But what it means and how it applies to this is it means that cartels no longer have this kind of kingpin vertical command and control structure. Back in the day when the DEA used to go after these drug cartels, they had what's called the kingpin strategy. They would go after the main guy or the main group or the main family, right, to try to dismantle them and then have everything trickle down, the whole Chapo Guzman thing, right? That really comes from the Pablo Escobar era, the Medellin cartel. But in the 21st century, these cartels have adapted. We saw that with Chapo Guzman. When we arrested Chapo Guzman multiple times, they extradited him to the U.S., Sinaloa cartel didn't miss a beat. They didn't make $1 less than what they were making with him as a leader. So they no longer have a vertical structure. They have a horizontal structure of many micro trafficking and many cells that work almost autonomously like franchises, and they spread across territory. So the complex adaptive systems concept really is meant to adapt that, and that's all lumped under what we know as asymmetric warfare. Mexican cartels, the Tren de Aragua, MS-13 are weapons of warfare against the United States, and that's clearly articulated in his order. I was very impressed on how President Trump designed this order and the fact that he got it through and signed it on the first day.
I love that, right? But now, we're getting ready to go to a break pretty soon, so let me just get this question into you that when, I was watching Donald Trump's presser in California, and one of the, when he was sitting around the table with both Democrats and Republican legislators, and he was talking about the wildfires, and he kept preferencing what he is going to do as common sense. These are just common sense things that we should do if you care about your people. And I'm thinking the same thing with what I just said, the mass deportations, securing the border, stopping catch and release, what you just meticulously explained to us about why designating the Mexican cartel as terrorist organization, why these things are so important. It just seems like common sense. Where was this 6 days ago? Donald Trump's been in office I guess 6 days now. So where was this common sense 7 days ago? Why is it common sense today, but it wasn't common sense 7 days ago? What switched?
Honestly, just President Trump switched. That's really the simple answer, because these are arguments that we've been making for years, almost more than a decade. You met a lot of resistance. I mean, it's common sense, but the thing about common sense is it isn't common until people understand it. And one of the, I think, talents of President Trump is explaining this in the way so that every American person.
And I agree with you, Joseph. But why wasn't it common sense? This seems like common sense to me, that because we've been watching this now for some time, specifically in the last 4 years of our nation being invaded, we would see these large caravans look like thousands of people all at once coming into our country. We're watching our little girls and boys being raped and murdered. Why wasn't it common sense to the people before? And I guess more importantly, how do we make sure we never get back to the insanity of before?
No, well, I think it was common sense to the people, as you were mentioning. I think anyone that watched the caravan stuff, they're like, this is an invasion. And I think that's why it won, because many people kind of understood that. It wasn't necessarily common sense for the U.S. government. And I think one of the reasons it wasn't common sense for the U.S. government, the U.S. government has this kind of issue with like what I call groupthink, right? Like once, one or two people inside the government that are high up put a specific position on the table, people, for fear of not getting promoted or for fear of getting isolated or ostracized from this community, they just kind of go along to get along. And I think we had a lot of that. I know we had a lot of that. I mean, when we were having these debates, we had a lot of people that agreed with us, but they didn't want to speak up because they were scared because the big bosses didn't agree. And so, the thing about the intelligence community is that, when you're in the community, you're actually supposed to challenge conventional thinking.
But they don't. But they don't.
And they don't mainly, and I'm going to get to the core why I think that is, they don't for fear of not having the mobility to enhance their career. They're more career-minded first than country first. And that's something that's been built into the culture of many government agencies, and I think that needs to change.
I love it. Thank you so much. I know we're getting ready to go to break right now. Thank you so much, Joseph, for popping in. I truly appreciate you and your sanity, your common sense to all of this.
Absolutely, Kathy. Always a pleasure.
Yes, absolutely. We're going to break right now, right? Yes, I know. we got this, guys. Listen. Call me at 855-839-1210, 855-839-1210. You can also find me on Twitter, or X, as it's now being called, at Kathy, the number 4 Truth. I'll see y'all on the other side of the break.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-511-3535. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider, 800-511-3535. That's 800-511-3535. For $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with, call Big Lou at 800-511-3535.
Taxes was not knowing your full financial picture. Now Taxes is getting and maximizing your refund all in one place. Credit Karma, where a TurboTax expert can do your taxes for you. They'll get you the most money back, guaranteed. Then you can do more with all that money, all in Credit Karma. Now this is Taxes. Intuit Credit Karma with TurboTax. Get started today. See guaranteed details at TurboTax.com/guarantees. Experts only available with TurboTax Live.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. Are you looking to achieve your health goals and start the new year right? Well, now's the time to optimize and support your heart health, cholesterol, digestive health, energy levels, and more with Rescue Natural Supplements with their New Year's savings. Rescue is celebrating you, so save 35% on single bottles of Rescue supplements with the code HEALTH35. Try the popular Rescue 1250 Omega-3 for heart health, Rescue Probiotic for better digestion, or Rescue Oracine for more energy. Whatever your health goals are, Rescue has you covered. To place an order, call 800-26-ALIVE, 800-262-5483. Speak to a knowledgeable Rescue product consultant or shop online at res-q.com. res-q.com. Start your journey to better health today. Use the code HEALTH35. Again, save 35% on all single supplements. Use that code HEALTH35. Don't wait. Make this year your best yet with Rescue.
At PGW, safety is essential to delivering clean, reliable natural gas to Philadelphia homes and businesses. If you smell gas, call PGW at 215-235-1212.
This is Dr. Marianne Ritchie. Tune in to Your Radio Doctor every Saturday afternoon at 5 here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT for the latest healthcare news and information, because your health is your wealth. That's Your Radio Doctor, Saturdays at 5.
Feel like everything's clouded by doubt? Visit CaliforniaPsychics.com. Our psychics are available to talk 24/7, and we guarantee if it's not life-changing, it's free. Experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics.
Snakes, zombies, public speaking. The list of fears is endless. But the real danger is in your hand when you're behind the wheel. Distracted driving is what's really scary and even deadly. Eyes forward, don't drive distracted. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at getethos.com. That's getethos.com.
Local news can come at you fast. Want the latest on what's happening in your backyard? Download the free Odyssey app. Follow your local news station, and you'll get alerts on the top stories making headlines in your city. You can stay in the know, no matter what you're up to, and be among the first to find out when news breaks. Plus, keep tabs on weather and traffic, so you're never caught off guard. To get started, download the Odyssey app. That's AUDACY, and follow your local news station.
Hey, Mount Laurel, we know your favorite station is WPHT. Tell your smart speaker to play 1210 WPHT.
So we're coming back in a little bit more mellow this time, Kirk. Let's take it down and let's be reflective of what the momentum of this first week of Donald Trump being back in office. A lot has happened. Is my next guest on air? Hello, Mr. Penland. How are you?
I'm doing fine, and yourself?
I am doing well, sir. Thank you so much being on air with me. You guys should be familiar with Mr. Joe Penland. I've talked about him a number of times. I've had him on the show many times. Joe is a businessman turned political activist, and he was the one who sponsored Tucker Carlson's tour, traveling across the nation right before the election. And I believe, because I felt it, that tour, something shifted inside of me in attending that tour. I don't know, it was like a switch of hope turned back on. It didn't feel so daunting and dark. And I believe that tour, along with many other things, was just pivotal in us winning in November. So I wanted you to come back on today, Mr. Penland, because I want, Donald Trump, I mean, he's been on a tear. He's shutting down DEI offices, lights closed. And in fact, in the memo that he sent out to all of the heads of department, he said, send this letter. And one of the line items was, don't even bother returning back to work. Like, don't even bother, cancel all your meetings. Don't even bother coming back to office anymore. All of these DEI offices, we saw him putting illegals on military planes. We saw him pardoning over 1,500 January 6ers, over 23 pro-lifers. He removed the security detail from Dr. Fauci and several others. I don't know, this week, it went by in a flash, but it seems momentous. Help us gain perspective of what it is we're watching right now.
Well, we're watching a man that is doing what he said he would do. He promised the American people a whole list of things, and you covered a lot of them right there. And I made a statement yesterday. This man has more grit than anybody I know, for sure. I can't speak for you, but he has more grit than anybody I've ever come across. They've tried to kill him. Somebody did. They've tried to ruin his life in the courts and so forth. They've done everything they can do to this man, and he does not need the headache. He certainly don't need the money. He had a pretty comfortable life. And for him to come back and take this country back to where it needs to go, it just shows how much he loves this country. And I really believe the short time I've been able to visit with the president, he's serious about his promises. He's going to make good on his promises. This country will be better in 4 years. It's better today than it was for the past 4 years. But when you get by these 4 years right here, it's going to be. I think that you will be able to see such a change. America will see such a change, and I'm very hopeful when the midterm comes around, we hold the House and the Senate because he's done what he said he would do.
You know, I'm so glad you said that, because most people say, oh, you know, in 4 years and 4 years. No, we really only have 2 years for Donald Trump to hit the ground. I mean, perhaps that's the thing that is motivating him at such at breakneck speed to do to make good on the promises that he said he would. Because we really don't have 4 years to get this right. We have 2 years to make such an impact that the American people will not only allow us on the Republican side to keep the House and the Senate, but to take over additional seats, right?
That's right. And you see it's razor thin now. You see what happened here in this last confirmation. It was 50-50. The vice president had to break the tie. So even though we have 53 senators on our side, 3 did not vote with the president on that. So it's razor thin. He's got to get it done. But I'm hopeful, Kathy, and I really believe in my heart that when 2 years rolls around, you're going to see that margin increase, because people are going to know that we have made a difference in a positive way for 340 million Americans, not just the elite.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, I was telling my husband last night, I've never seen a time when it is really unpopular to be a Democrat right now. It's very unpopular. I'm looking at black people on the south side of Chicago take their ridiculous Mayor Johnson to task right now in trying to, you know, secure and defend illegals over their residence. And I saw the same thing when Donald Trump just had a presser yesterday in California, and there were many of those very well-to-do residents from the Palisade area who was there, who were sounding very conservative all of a sudden. One of them even saying, so we can't get back into our homes until 18 months from now. We've lost everything. But miraculously, the governor, Gavin Newsom, and the Democrat Party came together very quickly to come up with $50 million to fight Donald Trump on deporting illegals. What do you think about that?
Well, the Democrats, they're not going to hide how they are. It is what it is. America now is really seeing it firsthand in real time exactly what the Democrats are up to. There's no two ways about it. You look at states that get devastated by hurricanes or tornadoes, and they're still suffering. And then you get a state that has a just as big a problem, and people come together over there. But if we're going to get together and keep people that have broke the law come into this country, smuggling people in, smuggling children, smuggling drugs, killing people, if we want that kind of people on our street, something's wrong. Somebody needs to go get tested for something else.
It's a mind virus, because, Donald Trump, all throughout his time yesterday at that California presser, he kept saying, common sense is back. Common sense is back. And I started thinking about it. Like, we're now 6 days into his second term. Why didn't we have this level of common sense just 7 days ago? Why is it now? Like, for example, at his inauguration, one of the loudest applause he received was when he said there are only 2 genders. Did we not know that 7 days ago? Did we not know that it was only 2 genders? Why is it now that we realize, oh, yeah, there's not 87 different genders. There's only 2, and everything else is a mental health crisis?
Well, down here in Texas, we call that backbone. You have to have a strong backbone to say, a lot of times, to speak the truth. A lot of people skirt around like they can't tell you what the definition of a woman is really is, and so forth. So, now we have a plain spoken man. He's a little, I'd say, unconventional in the way he's going to govern, but you know what? I'd rather have that over what we've had for 4 years. We see what we are with 4 years. You see how many millions of people have come into this country, how many billions of dollars that has cost us, how many lives it's cost us, what the fentanyl's done, the cost of fuel, the economy where it's at, inflation going to a 40-year high. You need more. You need a whole blackboard. You can't write this on one sheet of paper. It's really been bad. I think there's going to be a tremendous amount of good come out of these 4 years. And I appreciate what you said about the Tucker tour, because I visited with you quite a bit before that, and you did have a spark in your eye that night. I think you caught on fire a little bit that night.
I did. It felt ominous prior to that event. And then I walked into that event and people using the name of Jesus without qualifying it, people just being happy and not depressed. And I think we needed that, because I've been in this fight for well over 4 years. Like, actively, I've been in this fight since 2020. And all that we saw there, I mean, just beating the ground. And I think many of us, now you have a lot of people who are just now waking up and seeing the light. They have a lot of energy, and that's great. But many of us who have kept the hope alive that Donald Trump could get back in office again, we were exhausted right before Tucker Carlson's tour came along. I know for me, at least, I was just exhausted. Like, I'm over this already. And then you walk into that. And I think, and that has really informed my decisions even after that night, of just how important hope is. We have to be around people who think like us. We have to be rejuvenated when you're out here in the battle on the front lines.
Well, you're right. And, I think about Ronald Reagan, how great a president Ronald Reagan was, and so much that he had to confront. Donald Trump has the same. Social Security is running out. Reagan had to confront that. There's a lot of things, if you look at the similarities, what Reagan did and what had to do and what Trump's going to have to do. Reagan had a famous quote. He said, if we ever forget that we are one nation under God, and we will be a nation gone under. And, I think about that quote a lot.
That is so true. Guys, listen, you need to find out who Mr. Joe Penland is. You can go to joefromtexas.com. Did I get that right? joefromtexas.com.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, you can also text. We set up a text for you, Joe. You guys can text Joe, Joe, at 646-820-8714. 646-820-8714. He has a contract from the American people that he will be hand delivering to the president. Just, again, we are all in this together. Not that COVID-19 all in this together, but right now all in this together. Thank you, Mr. Penland.
Thank you, Kathy. Have a great day.
Yes, blessings. Okay, guys, listen, call me. 855-839-1210, 855-839-1210. And I see out here on Twitter, you guys are having a debate, a very healthy debate about my hair. Should I get a straight corporate cut, a power cut? Some like it curly, some like it straight. What do y'all think? I like it. It's easy. See y'all on the other side.
Success is picking up extra shifts for your family. Now you want to be the boss. Success is getting your foot in the door. Now you want to take the next step. Success looks different to everyone, and University of Maryland Global Campus can help you reach your goals. And there's never been a better time to get started on your future. Apply by February 12th and save with no application fee. As an accredited state university, UMGC has been transforming lives for over 75 years. With more than 135 undergraduate and graduate degrees and certificates, online and hybrid courses, personalized support, financial resources, and lifetime career services, achieving your dreams is more possible than ever before. Choose the program that's right for your career goals and get started on your next success. Get your application fee waived through February 12th. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
In a world filled with financial information, Citizens can help you make sense of it. So whether you're signing up or hitting snooze on some financial newsletters, scrolling through your socials that all seem to be saying the same thing, or getting together with your neighbors at a cookout to game plan college funds, you're ready to make the most of it. Make sense of your money with Citizens. Learn more at citizensbank.com/made ready.
When you enter a place of business, you're owed a legal duty that the place of business is safe for you to shop in. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. If you suffered an injury at a place of business, our duty is to protect you after that harm. Morgan & Morgan, for the people.com.
In Virginia Beach, our locals live the life every day. In fact, we can't wait to share our way of life with new friends. It's no secret that we are known as one of the happiest communities in the country. Virginia Beach is a friendly hug, a warm handshake, a hearty laugh, and a healthy dose of the unexpected. The art of living the life starts by connecting with what matters most: happiness. When you visit, you will realize that happiness is a real place, and that it is here in Virginia Beach.
Upgrade your bathroom with Emmons Remodeling.
We offer custom design, build, renovation services to fit your style and budget. Our designers work closely with you to create the perfect space for you and your family.
Experience luxury and functionality with the expert team at Emmons.
So call us at 856-885-6677. Again, that's 856-885-6677, or visit us at callemmons.com. From top to bottom,
to inside and out,
at Emmons, we have you covered.
At University of Maryland Global Campus, we give our students credit where credit is due. Credit for deciding in the middle of rush hour traffic to go back and get their bachelor's and a promotion. Credit for managing 3 kids, 2 dogs, and a full-time job to pursue an MBA. And credit for serving in the military by day so they can study cybersecurity at night. For over 75 years, we've been helping students receive the credit they deserve. With more than 135 degrees and certificates, students at UMGC can use prior learning or relevant experience to earn up to 90 credits toward a bachelor's, and graduate students can transfer up to 12 credits toward their master's. At UMGC, you'll find everything: online to hybrid courses, lifetime career services to scholarship opportunities, making your education journey flexible, fast, and affordable. Apply now and save with no application fee. Classes start February 12th. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
Free speech lives here with Don Stensland, 10 till noon on Odyssey's #1 talk station, 1210 WPHT.
I need the other music coming back. That's okay. I'm ready to rock out. Okay, I think the YouTube, I think curly hair has won out the debate. I got a number of people say no, they like the curly. I'm telling you guys, it's just so easy. You are listening to the #1 talk radio station in Philadelphia, also covering Maryland, New Jersey, Delaware, all of Pennsylvania. I am so excited to be your host, Kathy Barnette, and you are listening to The Kathy Barnette Show. Okay, my husband has texted me so many times. Y'all see the book behind me. If you're watching me right now on YouTube, it's not back up right now. But if you're watching me on YouTube, you see my book right there. I am putting on my website at kathybarnette.com a way for you to go to my website, secure a book. I will sign it and send it to you. But for right now, you can go to Amazon.com and pick up my book that went #1, by the way, on Amazon during the all the COVID hype. But nonetheless, I wanted to bring in my next guest, Kaizen. I see you do. Did I get that right, Kaizen?
Close enough. It's a hard one.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Say your name for me, please.
Kaizen Asiadu.
Asiadu. Thank you so much, Kaizen. Kaizen, I saw you on, you popped up on my screen. This gorgeous Black man, Harvard educated, being so smart about a variety of issues. And then the California fires broke out. And you, again, so sensical, so logical, and without all of the emotions, even though you were one of the people who had to flee your homes because of the devastating fires. And so I wanted to bring you on because, again, I go to Gavin Newsom's page and he says what Donald Trump is saying is a lie. I go to Donald Trump's page and Donald Trump is saying, no, Newsom is wrong. I'm right. It's so much disinformation out there. And I found you to be just a breath of fresh air in bringing logic and facts, receipts, as they say, to the conversation. So I wanted to bring you on. Donald Trump was out there in your neck of the woods yesterday doing a presser, flanked with Democrats and Republicans on both sides of him, and he was. I mean, he was not there to play around. He was very to the point on many issues, which we appreciated. But one of them that stands out to me is the water situation. You have Gavin Newsom saying, no, there is no water coming down from Canada, and we redirected it into the Pacific Ocean. That's not true. But Donald Trump is saying, no, millions of gallons of water has been redirected, and that is the reason. That's one of the many reasons why California was just engulfed in flames in the way that it was. Help us understand what's really going on.
Yeah, so I think to help your viewers understand why there's a gap here, I think it's important to distinguish between being directionally correct and technically correct. So I think Trump is directionally correct, but he's technically inaccurate on some of the things. And Gavin Newsom is directionally incorrect, but technically accurate on things. So it's like the difference between like the major and the minor details. Where Donald Trump is majorly correct is California does have a water policy that is dysfunctional. And it's just a fact that we have dumped millions of gallons of water into the Pacific Ocean to protect an endangered species of fish called the Delta smelt. And that water has a financial value. That's water that we can use for other purposes, and it's water that we chose to redirect because of a fish. Now, is it technically true that we needed that water to fight these specific fires? No. We did have water in some of the reservoirs that were used for the fires. However, what Trump is speaking to is a general worldview of dysfunctional management and the wrong priorities that's getting reflected in many ways across the board, from the LA Fire Department being understaffed and under budget, to the LA Fire Department focusing on DEI instead of merit, to the fact that we're not clearing out our forests of deadwood, and as a result, the forests are more flammable than they need to. So Trump is pointing to a bigger trend, and even if the exact things he's pointing to aren't exactly what happened in this case, I think he's pointing out the macro issue. Whereas Gavin Newsom, I think he's correct that, yeah, you know, the water that we put into the Pacific Ocean to protect this fish, it's called the Delta smelt. The water that we put in the Pacific Ocean to protect this fish was not water that we needed for these fires. However, the same kind of thinking, like we need to prioritize fish over people, and we need to prioritize DEI over merit, and, you know, we need to prioritize allowing homeless people to live on the street rather than enforcing law and order. All of these things contribute to a circumstance where not only are there more fires than there need to be, and by the way, some of the fires were probably arson. 14,000 fires are started by homeless people every year.
And I saw
Los
that
Angeles.
in one of your videos that over 13,000 fires are started every single year in California by homeless people. And then when you have an explosion of homelessness, it stands to reason that there will be an upward trajectory on the number of wildfires that are started by these homeless people.
Yeah, exactly. And I'll give you an example of like an individual instance that shows what Trump is pointing out, which is a dysfunctional worldview, and it's a dysfunctional far leftist government. Let's just call it what it is. So there was a man who was near the Kenneth fire in LA. So that's one of the big fires that broke out during the Palisades fire. This guy was riding around on a bike with a yellow blowtorch coming from that fire. Citizens saw him, and they were like, why is this guy riding with a blowtorch during a fire? Did this guy start a fire? The citizens confronted him and staged a citizen's arrest, which is already dangerous, right? Like, we don't want to have a society where citizens need to be arresting individuals, but they did that. Fortunately, no one was hurt. The police, LA Police Department arrests him. Turns out that this guy is an illegal immigrant. He's here in the country illegally. A year ago, he was arrested for assault with a deadly weapon. He was not deported. So this guy is riding around the streets of LA, this time with the blowtorch. He's not deported. They can't deport him. right? So they decide, okay, we actually can't arrest him because we don't have probable cause, despite the fact that he had a blowtorch. Then they give him to ICE, and ICE can't deport him because California has sanctuary state laws protecting illegal immigrants from getting deported, even though he committed a crime. So it's like,
or even though it's very probable, no, they did not see the fire leave the torch, the blowtorch, but we're not allowed to connect any dots when it's not in favor of this dysfunctional worldview.
Exactly. So it's like, okay, I mean, I guess you didn't see him lighting the fire, so maybe you don't have probable cause.
Maybe he just walking around with a blowtorch just because. It's hot.
Yeah, just because during fires, right?
I know,
so
right?
It's like, oh, okay, you know.
It's just very dysfunctional. But you know what? But let me go back to what you were saying earlier, because to Donald Trump's point, when you make this distinction between directionally correct versus technically correct, I mean, is it technically correct that had the water, millions of gallons, not been diverted into the Pacific Ocean, that water would have been available to keep the ground and the trees moist, and tumbleweeds may not have been so dry, the ground may not have been so dry, being the tinder that just kept this fire going so easily?
Yeah, based on my research, that's not correct, because a lot of the water would have been used for places outside of LA, not in LA specifically. So it's not like that water would have gone through the LA forest and the forest would have been more moist, so they wouldn't have burned. But some of the farmland, that's north of us, where they are constantly struggling, it's like they're in a drought even when there's not a drought.
Right.
Yeah, they would have been less affected.
Yeah. Okay. So from a farming perspective, i.e. economy, but what about one of the reservoirs was empty at the time of these fires? Is that true?
Exactly, that is true. So the Santa Ynez Reservoir, which is the closest reservoir for Pacific Palisades, so it's their first reservoir in state of emergency.
And it was empty.
Water, and it was empty, yeah, and it was empty for a long time, months, maybe even like a year.
Well, where do they get the water to fill that up?
So that's a great question that I don't know the answer to.
Probably from the water that was redirected, maybe.
Yeah, maybe, but I don't think the issue is that the reservoir wasn't filled because there wasn't enough water. The reservoir wasn't filled because they were doing maintenance on the reservoir, but they took too long to do maintenance on the reservoir, right? Like, when you know there's high risk of fire, you shouldn't have a reservoir that is in the area with the highest risk of fire be empty for months or even a year on end. So again, it's like, how does that happen, right? It's easy for him, to Gavin Newsom, to say, oh, well, we used other reservoirs. Well, clearly the reservoir near Pacific Palisades was built there because it's the most effective place to have a reservoir for Pacific Palisades.
And what about the water pressure?
We're using something else.
And what about the lack of water pressure?
Exactly. So, there have
been
whistleblowers. Can we just extend this?
Yeah, I'm sorry, Kaiser. I want to extend this a little bit longer. Go ahead and explain the lack of water pressure.
Yeah, so the lack of water pressure, I mean, just to think of this simply, the further away a reservoir is from the place that it's serving, the more water pressure becomes an issue, right?
And because that particular reservoir had no water, they had to go even farther to access the water, which reduces the water pressure where they needed it the most.
Exactly. So it's unclear how much it affected things, but it absolutely affects things, because if it didn't matter, then we wouldn't have a reservoir there.
But what did matter to them was having three lesbian at the head of the LA Fire Department. I saw one of your videos where you were like, that is, if the lesbian community is less than 1% of LA County, it's an overrepresentation of lesbians at the LA Fire Department. That seemed to be a bigger priority for them.
Yeah, so people say, oh, well, what's the issue? Maybe lesbians can do the job just as well. Sure, but look at it from a numbers perspective. Only 3% of the LA Fire Department is women to begin with, and then only a small percentage of those women are going to be lesbian. So if 3 of the top people at LA Fire Department are all lesbian women, then there's probably something in the policy that's over promoting lesbians rather than focusing on merit. So it's like, all across the board, you can see dysfunctional logic leading to suboptimal outcomes.
And it's
And
all
that's the real issue
connected.
here.
It's all connected. You can't just focus on one part of the narrative and then exclude the others. We have to look. There is something in the water, not in California because they don't have any, but there's something about this woke mind virus. I don't know if there's a better name for it, but there is something that is causing people to think irrational or to lean towards that which is more irrational than not.
Yeah, and people are just buying it, right? So Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass, they'll redirect attention away from them and they'll say, oh, it's just climate change. When the climate is changing, that's something we need to adapt to.
Climate has
but
always been changing.
Yeah, and the response that they have is just inadequate regardless of what the conditions are. So we need to stop buying these narratives from politicians and then complaining, why are politicians so bad? Because we allow them to give us bad excuses and then we accept them. And then when we see our whole city burning, somehow we still accept their excuses.
Exactly.
And I think Gavin Newsom, look, I think governing a state is really difficult. Like, I get that it's a really hard job. But for me, he would get a lot more credence if he literally just owned it and said, you know what? There are things I could have done better here, and I'm sorry. I'm committed to doing better. But instead, he's constantly fighting with Donald Trump and Elon Musk. It's like, those guys aren't
and
responsible
trying
for
to
your
protect
state. You
the
are.
illegals. They found a way to come up with $50 million, but their people can't get back in their homes. Kaizen, thank you so much for coming on. You guys can follow Kaizen on Twitter. Where can they find you on Twitter, Kaizen?
That's Kaizen. So THATSKAIZEN.
Thank you so much, Kaizen. Guys, we're getting ready to go on break. When I come back, only a few minutes left. If you want to jump in on the conversation, it's 855-839-1210, 855-839-1210.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-511-3535. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider, 800-511-3535. That's 800-511-3535. For $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with, call Big Lou at 800-511-3535.
Tune in tonight starting at 7 p.m. for the Bob Pantano Saturday Night Dance Party. Live from Adelphia in Deptford, the Bob Pantano Saturday Night Dance Party is broadcast exclusively on 98.1 HD2 and Bob Pantano Dance Party Radio on the Odyssey app. Driven by Colonial Nissan.
If you have unfiled taxes or are in debt to the IRS, this is important news. Did you know the IRS has programs specifically designed to help people struggling with tax debt? Powerful tax assistance programs that can save you thousands if you qualify. No one knows these programs better than the experts at Optima Tax Relief, America's most trusted tax resolution firm, A-rated by the Better Business Bureau. Their award-winning team of tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. One call to Optima can start the process, helping to end your worries about wage garnishment, asset seizure, and other IRS actions. Make sure you're getting the best options to solve your tax problems. Call the experts at Optima today for a free confidential consultation.
Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Pastor Brad Lacey here, First Baptist Church, Conshohocken. Join us Saturdays for the great message and be blessed. 5 a.m. right here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
If you want jazz music, go to New Orleans. Bagels, New York. And for psychics, think California Psychics. You want the best, you go to the best. At California Psychics, home of free spirits and open minds, we know better than anyone what makes a good psychic. That's why we guarantee if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free. Visit CaliforniaPsychics.com. and experience the joy of certainty. California Psychics.
Helping your inner circle prepare for emergencies can start in many ways. Put together an emergency kit with WIPOL. Create a family communication plan with your tita. Remind Bai to keep a backup battery charged. It all starts with a simple step, telling those you care about to be ready for the worst. So start a conversation and plan for emergencies together. Get more tips at ready.gov/start. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council. To keep a backup battery charged.
Have you subscribed to our YouTube channel yet? Not yet. Do it today. Okay. At 1210 WPHT.
Don't like me, that's your problem. What? When I let it bother me, that's my problem. Hey, and I got enough problems.
Yeah,
I got enough. Everybody wanna take
you don't
one
like
up.
me?
You ain't
That's
pray
your
for me, you ain't take one up. When they don't know the story, they just make one up. Hey, gossip, stop it.
Yes,
Why you want to
I
talk to me
love
about
it.
it?
Hey,
Go tell
Pennsylvania,
me
how
about
y'all
it.
doing?
None of my business, leave me out.
Oh my goodness, this has been so much fun. Such an hour packed, full of information. I hope a shot of adrenaline as you move throughout this day, as well as a tinge of hope. Hope is so important. You got to keep it up. And after this first week of Donald Trump, I mean, wow, what an amazing week. What can we expect next week? I mean, with a week like this, what can we expect next week? By the grace of God, all good. Literally, I wake up praying for the president, J.D. Vance, and many of our leaders. I go to bed. When I wake up thinking about them, praying for them, I go to bed thinking about them, praying for them, because it's not just about them, but it is our hope for our nation. I want good for each and every one of you. I do. I earnestly do. I get excited when I hear good things going on in the lives of people. I want that. I earnestly desire that. But in order to do that, we got some rough days ahead of us. And we're going to each have to be out there on the battlefield, or wherever that battlefield is, whether it's in your home or outside of your home, being willing to give reasons why we believe what we believe. And that's the purpose of my show, is to equip you for going out at church tomorrow, at home, when you're picking up your coffee. You got to go do all of that. Donald Trump needs our help. That's why I want you guys earnestly to go to joefromtexas.com, sign your name there. We're going to be handing that over to President Trump to let him know we are here. These are the things we want. We believe you can do it. That's what we're going to have to do. We're going to have to stay involved and stay engaged. Guys, here's my book behind me. Go get it. KathyBarnette.com. You can start there. And I will see you guys next week. Blessings. Take care of each other.
Your weeknights are getting a whole lot better. With Jimmy Fallon, 7 to 10 p.m.
So the Eagles playing in the NFC Championship game this weekend. Mayor Sherelle Parker taking a shot at spelling Eagles in an Eagles chant.
E-L-G-S-E-S, Eagles! Let's go, Birds!
Elgs. Let's go, Elgs is what she actually spelled. Woo.
Jimmy Fallon, now weeknights, 7 to 10 p.m. on Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, and the free Odyssey app.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6481. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6481. That's 800-575-6481. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Deborah Heart and Lung Center and Cleveland Clinic Heart Vascular and Thoracic Institute have formed a powerful alliance. Legends in caregiving New Jersey families, the most sophisticated heart team in America. Innovators in research and patient care who've made life better for thousands of patients, raising the standard for the next generation of care. The alliance between Deborah Heart and Lung Center and Cleveland Clinic Heart Vascular and Thoracic Institute means the highest quality care close to home for you. DemandDeborah.org.
When you need to know, depend on KYW News Radio 1039 FM.
A third person is charged with murder in connection with last month's deadly Lower Merion home invasion. Mayor Sherelle Parker says Philly is ready for the celebration if the Eagles win Sunday's NFC title game. And a former school board member says staff at Philly Extended Day programs may not be prepared for student health emergencies.
Get the latest anytime on KYW News Radio. Now on Crystal Clear 103.9 FM.
You've never needed us more.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6481. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6481. That's 800-575-6481. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
WPHT, WPHT HD, WOGL HD3 Philadelphia. From the Piazza Premium Automobile Studios, powering your drive with 10 brands and 20 locations. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This program is paid for by Retirement Media Incorporated. All opinions or statements expressed on this program are solely those of Retirement Media or their guests and do not reflect the opinions of WPHT or Odyssey. Today's program has been pre-recorded.
The continuing rise of the cost of goods and services threatens to erode your retirement future.
Susan Sinosky, Downingtown, Pennsylvania. Retirees should be thinking about how much money they have and how long it's going to last. Costs are just skyrocketing. Medical costs, housing, food especially. And when was the last time you ever heard of a tax decrease? And I have to say, I have no fear at all because my money is safeguarded with Crash Proof Retirement. And with our Crash Proof